No, I've got that memory of a bunch of comments going, man, he spent like 90 minutes designing that ship for you to immediately scrap it.
No, the thing is, like people complain about that, and it's like 50% of people like to see that, and the other 50% don't, and it's like, well, who the hell did you please that day?
Nah, you don't. You try not to please anyone.
If I've learned anything having done this for 6 years, is that you don't please anybody.
You know those like stop clocks that people use, like like chess matches. Like one person hits it when it starts, and the other person hits it when it starts. Like we need one of those, like doing the designs of that. It's like, okay, we'll put a turret on, hit the switch. Okay, we'll put another turret on, hit the switch. And I don't know, maybe keep both sides happy that way. I need like a cricket sound effect here.
One sec. All right.
Are we ready to bogey?
All right. Yeah. Let's get this started.
I just can't believe how long it's gone already.
Well, I thought it was a pretty fun series. It was more frustrating than I thought, but not because of dealing with different ship designs, but probably just because I think we expressed a little bit of, or people. I mean, basically.
Wait, are we live? Just FYI.
I mean, do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to do a recording for your own channels? I'm going to stream this and then just post the replay. But if you guys want to do a separate recording,
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll just link it that way.
Oh yeah, we can just throw. I'll just throw the replay on the end of the Rule Wave Succession series playlist.
I'm just gonna deny that this existed.
Okay.
It'll be like that Armored Warfare Gettysburg game that Paradox did.
I can't stop you from doing
I
it.
forgot about that.
Well, whatever happened to
Paradox,
their?
Happy you did.
Didn't they have another one called? Was it Brother Against Brother? Is that the one that you're talking about?
No, that's a Matrix game.
Yeah, that is.
It's also the
Right.
Stellaris.
Armored Warfare Gettysburg was like a Paradox. The idea was like modern weapons in Gettysburg.
Oh god, yeah, I remember
was a
now.
disaster.
It was like sort of steampunk, wasn't it?
It was god awful. It was like right before they completely redid how their QA setup worked, because all the games they were releasing at the time were just buggy messes. Except this was like.
Are you saying that that's not what happens right now?
Well, I think there's a noticeable difference between like when they released Hearts of Iron 2 and 4.
Hearts of Iron
Though
4
supposedly
barely
they're on
worked
about
when it came
subscription
out.
service now.
Hearts of Iron 3 was probably worse.
Maybe it was Hearts of Iron 3. I don't know. I just know there was a period of time where like it was really it was way worse than it is now. Like what they do now was like swimmingly successful compared to what they used to do.
Let me boost you guys' sound.
I need to boost Ben. It's so quiet.
Yeah, it sounds like Ben's in like a cave.
I got him at 200%.
Let me just double check, make sure it's using the right mic.
Well, now we're all gonna be deaf.
Yeah. Just brace your eardrums.
Do you remember the story about the Chilean miners? Well, one of them is still down there, and turns out it's Ben.
He could be in
Unexpected.
Wuhan. Maybe he's just like really far away from the microphone,
Yeah.
like a plastic sheet or something.
It's patient zero.
I saw a video from like an office in Wuhan where like all the office workers were basically in what looked like mosquito netting, except I think it was plastic.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy there. I mean, the thing is, it's like in the actual province, from what I'd last read, they quarantined about 10 cities or so. And they talk about the population being about 60 million, and it's crazy because that's the equivalent to the United Kingdom, more or less. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah,
Big
exactly.
numbers.
Well, just to get things started with chat, if you guys have Is Ben coming too? Ben's
You're
here.
streaming
Can you hear
on
him?
YouTube?
I'm just streaming on
I am here.
YouTube.
Apparently, my mic is being wonky today.
He's here. I have you boosted. You're about even, as far as I can tell, with XRG and TSG now. So if you guys have questions in particular you want to ask about the Succession series, just go ahead and post those.
Oh, there you go. Would watch it as well.
I'm waiting for this ad to finish. I want to make sure I support Tortuga's channel.
Oh God, please. I don't extend you the same courtesy. So
Asshole.
I can't be bothered to watch a 30-second ad.
No, this one's actually like a minute and a half. Jackass.
what I specifically look at my livelihood is not based on ads, so I don't even check the box for non-skippable
Yes.
ads.
Back in the day when YouTube was my only source of income, the dog days.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I can unlock these coupons and I can save $340 on this TV or $55 on this headset.
Big Nine says audio is a bit off for that as well. It's probably because you're used to hearing them as they are and not as they are through someone else's audio.
Yeah, it's always going to sound different going through multiple sources than just one, especially Discord.
I sure hope you made a lot of money off a 1 minute and a half ad that I watched the entire thing for.
You know what you said about the TV. Could you not use a TV as the headset?
I guess.
There you go. Breaking the system, you're getting 2 for 1 there. I mean, you could use it as a monitor and a headset. Win-win.
Yeah, I could do
You
that
just need
too.
to buy a microphone.
Headset's probably cheaper than the TV. I could hear through my headset. I don't have to see anything.
Well, that's true. That's true. You could also wear a blindfold.
Okay, I boosted you guys a whole bunch. Think we should be fine.
Blindfold's cheaper than a TV.
Well, this reminds me. I wonder if Alpha 4 hit for Ultimate General Dreadnought or Ultimate. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it that. Ultimate General Admiral Not.
When is that campaign happening? Because we need to do a collaboration.
No, there's no. I think it's gonna be a long time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they had the framework in, but I don't know.
But I want to do that together.
No, that should be quite good.
I honestly think we're looking at a long time. I'd say at least 6 months.
Oh yeah,
Unacceptable.
yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so let me just let me share my screen so that you guys can see exactly what the streamers are seeing. No, the people watching the stream are seeing.
That's a good idea.
And I'm just sharing all of screen too. So we have this. This is a spreadsheet of all the. You guys already have this spreadsheet. I'm showing it for everyone else. The different things, and we also have the only other resource I have is the state of the end state for every term. So I don't have the ships in service. We'd have to load the actual game for that. I probably.
We tried.
I mean, if I no, I mean, I can post a save game of mine, or yeah, I can just post my save game if you guys want to load that. We can look at the ship designs in particular, but we have one question. What is your favorite faction country to play in? I guess as in Rule the Waves.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan. You can dick everybody over.
Nobody likes the United States.
I've never actually played as the United States.
And they're so easy. It's like infinite research, infinite money.
You
played
don't
as a
feel that way about the
Confederate.
British?
I've never played as the British either.
The British are the worst. The absolute worst.
Well, you've got so. I think I actually like Italy the most.
That's pretty cool.
Italy's fun, yeah.
Italy's fun. Japan's probably the best, in my opinion. Japan's probably the best country if you want to play with all the different mechanics in the game, because like especially with the invasion mechanic, you have a lot of places that are within range that you can invade right away within that new mechanic. But then you also are remote enough that you don't have to worry too much about being overwhelmed by the other superpowers' navies, because they can't actually effectively get to you for the most part. There's a couple exceptions.
Also surprise attacks.
Oh yeah.
Well, you only,
that as well.
you only share a home region with Russia, don't you?
Yep.
And yeah, you can dick over the Russians repeatedly.
But the Russians also have to keep like most of their fleet, or they tend to keep most of their fleet in Europe anyway.
Yeah, Northern Europe's too hot. Like,
Fun
it's-
story about that. In the 1.15 patch, you could play as China. And so that's what I started doing in one of my streams last week. Started playing as China. And first war I got into was with Germany. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to be too bad. They got one holding out here. They got Tsingtao. It's not going to be a big deal. No, they sent the entire, like, Kriegsmarine over, like, 12 pre-dreadnoughts all the way around the world, over all the way to China.
So what you're saying is they made a land bridge, just connected them one by one and just marched the German army.
Man,
in.
I don't know if it's just my luck or whatnot, but playing as China, everybody fucking hates you.
Yeah, I've actually seen other people having the same
Historically
problem.
Historically accurate, trademarked.
Yeah, somebody else was posting about it in the Rule the Waves channel on my Discord, and they showed it a picture. Let me see if I can find it, where every person is like at tensions 11. Oh yeah, here it is. See if I can open. Yeah. So there.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, but they have a treaty with Japan, which seems unrealistic.
Like
Well,
in
maybe
my
it's
game, for some
1940.
reason, France has absolutely no chill. No matter what I do, France gets pissed off.
Huh. That's as China.
Yeah, as China.
I'm pretty sure that
China's
they have
a-
it scripted, man, to like hate you.
China's a tough start too. 4,000 ton dock size and maximum 8-inch guns.
Sorry.
Do you guys ever just decide to farm out your designs and just buy foreign? Like, so dock sizes obviously matter if you're building domestic, but I mean, obviously, if you're worried about tensions being high with everyone, then you can't exactly rely on exports or imports.
In my game, I license built ships in the U.S.
Okay.
because I mean I needed some new pre-dreadnoughts, and I wasn't gonna be building no dreadnoughts with 8-inch guns.
Yeah.
Hey, can you imagine a game where you weren't allowed to expand your home docks and you only had to use foreign docks, to build?
But that's China,
Well-
isn't it?
China.
I mean, I guess people
that
are
takes
saying
years.
Yeah,
Years
you
and
can
years.
get-
With starting at 4,000. It takes it's what is it? 2,000 per 2,000 tons per run, and it's 1 year per run. So it takes you a long time it takes multiple years just to catch up to what they start at.
It
yeah.
takes you 5 years just to get to what a lot of countries start at. It takes you probably 10 years to get to like a good dreadnought design by the time the dreadnought's around.
But I really like that because then you are forced to, as China was, purchase from abroad.
I mean, honestly, Japan could realistically, the game could restrict Japan to that because they were really not in a position to build, like, from scratch their own dreadnoughts until after World War One, really.
I mean, like, from reading, obviously you've read Kaigen, it describes how the initial fleet was just ships bought from other nations, wasn't it?
Yep. My favorite was
what I'm hoping
the
from those purchase ships is that whatever guns I put on them, maybe I'll get the research for, because I'm pretty sure that if you license build a ship with guns you don't have, you have an increased chance of unlocking that technology for yourself.
I hadn't thought of that.
And if you hear screaming in the background, don't pay any attention to that. It's just my wife.
So there's certainly no screaming on this side.
As long as she's not screaming about killing people.
That's literally what she's screaming about right now.
Well, I
Is
guess
she like
it's better
playing a
than
game, or is she like making a list?
She's streaming Soma right now, and she doesn't do well with horror games. So she's
All
freaking out.
right. I thought you were going to say she's like writing a manifest or something. Right? No, sorry. Oh God, what do they call it now? Writing a list anyway.
my favorite ships in the entire series were the ones that I built.
I hated your ship so much. I hate him.
So this has got to be the main point of discussion. Let's just go, like, literally go around. We'll start with Ben, go to THG, me, the next year G. A ship design question. What did you think about the ship designs, Ben? What were the ships? What was your favorite ships that you were passed? Your favorite ships from other people? Your least
Okay.
favorite? What's your design
Let's
philosophy?
Let's do it this way. Let's do least favorite and most favorite, disregarding the ones you designed yourself.
Oh.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so for me, I have a pretty limited range because what I played, you guys didn't build anything except fucking battleships and battle cruisers. Nothing else.
That's not true. I
It
built
is
the destroyer
100%
class.
true.
Um,
When both times that I had my two save files was, well, I started. Did I do 2 or 3?
I think 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I did 2.
Yeah,
think
I
I
did
did
too as
too
well,
as
so it
well.
might be 2.
I think I did too, but my first one I started with the Legacy fleet, so obviously there was nothing in there. And the second one, there were like my entire second run was just building destroyers, corvettes, light cruisers, and a couple heavy cruisers because the thing was so top heavy. Now I will say that the battle cruise of the ones I have to choose from, I think the battle cruisers were a good design, but we built too many of them.
Never.
And Tortuga, your fucking turtle ships were just god awful.
they were amazing.
Tortugas were terrible.
They're amazing. All right, I'll bite my tongue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's me. It was I can't remember. It was.
Oh, the Tortukov was your least favorite?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, everyone has a floor. I may disagree with what you're saying, but I will
All right, who's next?
fight to the death.
Well, what were your favorites?
My favorites were the battle cruisers.
Oh, really?
I think that they were a good design. I just think we spent too much money building too many of them.
That's probably fair. Well, I will
How many
take.
did we
I will-
build? 8?
I did not build 8. Just for the record, I think I built 4. And
I
then
did add a fifth one, so
TRG
it came
built
up
a
10%
couple more.
cheaper.
So the
Yeah, you built a
Tortukov was
couple
your
more of
least
mine, I
favorite.
think.
This wonderful design was your least favorite, huh?
It's terrible.
We should also try to remember when it was built, which the game kept syncing them with the submarines.
Hey, don't go there. My poor Parator Magnus class ships got shit on in every single person's comment section.
Here, let me. Go
I
next.
I always thought they would be very good strategic battleships. I never.
Let me go. Let me go.
They were
next.
laid
Okay,
out of like
go ahead.
1901. I had nothing to work with.
So my favorite battleships were probably the Magnus class, not because they were great, but they were just pound for pound, they were the most
Oh,
effective.
I
ships.
see how it is. So this is he scratches your back, you scratch his. Hey, my favorite's the X tier G class. X tier G.
Well, you mean
They were
that
the most.
ship I
They were
never built?
most. They were the most effective ships, and my least favorite were the Tortukov class. And the reason the Tortukov class was my least favorite is, and I think you can see this if you look at my battle cruiser design, is I think speed is really important in this game.
Agreed.
When you take damage, you have to be able to get away from the enemy. If you don't have speed, you are just going to get crushed. And no matter how much armor you have, if you're in an engagement that you can't get away from, you're going to die. And so
torpedoes
the
love that.
Tortukov class was just too slow, in my opinion. And it traded speed for things that at least the way that I play is
All right.
not super valuable.
As moderator or self-titled moderator, I'm going to write down this as a point of discussion. Ship design, speed versus armor. Jackie Fisher would be so proud of both of you, but I frankly
I
disagree.
don't know how I feel about that.
Okay, so what was your
That's the best
least...
ship in the class right now. The
So
one you're
you're-
looking at right now.
Your most favorite was the Imperator Magnus, and your least favorite was the Tortukov.
The
Just-
Tortukov was so bad in my mind that it's the only one I remembered the name of the class.
Okay, then up to me. I'm looking at the list. Luckily, I can... I think... That's really a tough call. God. I think my favorite class was the Red October, which were the light carriers built by THG.
I'll take it.
Because you did have 34 aircraft on it, which I wasn't expecting somebody to deliver. I mean, this is actually a very good light aircraft carrier design. I don't think it really needs much improvement. So, I mean, there's not anything obvious. I don't know, armor 1.5 and 1.5.
Probably needs more anti-aircraft guns, but we didn't have that as an option when I was designing it, really.
That's right, and I'm also taking that into consideration. Like, when we say that Tortukov is bad, it's a bad class for its time. I mean, for now, for 1928. I think that when I designed it, it was a great class. But you guys disagree. I'm assuming that you guys take that into consideration. My least favorite, that's actually a pretty tough one. I might go with the Sovietsky, the heavy cruisers that Ben designed. Anyone who knows me playing this game knows I just loathe heavy cruisers. I feel like
Love that.
it's a pretty good it's a pretty good heavy cruiser design too. I would say actually if there was a class for like the ship class forcing me to use changed my future gameplay the most, I would say it's the Sovietsky as well. I hate it in principle, but having had to use it and it was effective. The things that I dislike about it are the fact that its maintenance is more than or about equal to the Tortukov. And in a one-on-one fight, it's just going to be destroyed by a Tortukov.
That's the thing. It would never fight. It's not designed for that. I designed my ships for a role, and if you fight them outside of the role, of course they're not going to work right.
Okay, I agree. And we'll have to... So let me also put ship design, ship roles as another point of discussion. X-Tier 3.
Okay. The one that I hated the most. I'm gonna say the Tortukov because it didn't have an engine. It just had like tank rowers.
Did we forget to raise the sails? Was this still an Age of Sail ship?
It's got banks of rowers. It's just a galley. No, so it's just a galley. See, the thing is, it's like I never really got much chance to use them. So I went to war with Austria twice, and one Dalmatian then immediately lost it without a chance to actually fight for it. And they were good. They were okay. It's just everything was short ranged, or just didn't have the range to move. The one I like the most, I'm going to say the Sovietsky, mostly because it was a homage to the thing that I never got to build. The one thing I loved never got built, so...
In all fairness, that ship was basically the exact same one you designed with, like, newer engines.
I looked at your ship X-Tier G, and I wanted to build it, and then I saw the Sovietsky, and I was just like, I can't justify. This is a step backwards. Why would I do that?
I think like the Sovietsky was literally like 4% better. That's it.
Oh dear. Now, actually, what ship did I build? Did I ever build a ship? Of my own design. I think I built the I built the AVs, and I think that was probably about it.
Oh, I want to change my answer. My favorite... What did I say was my favorite?
Red October.
Oh, the Red October. Never mind. That's a good answer. I probably should have gone with one of the support ships. I like the Magnu. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at this list...
Which one was the Magnu? I don't remember. Was that a
I think
Destroyer?
Isn't that a destroyer I built?
Was the Magnu... I thought your destroyer was the Charcoal Cheetah.
Oh, you're
well,
right.
I'm pretty sure the one I built was the Magnu.
Yeah, but based on its
name. It would be named the Magnu if you built it.
One sec.
Yeah, there we go. There's the AV Varslava. I think that was the only thing I actually built. I built two of them. I think it was pretty much of the only design I ever built.
You built a bunch more of my battle cruisers.
I had to. Everything else I designed died. Well, died in the sense it never got built. I suppose this is it. It's like if this was a game of D&D, Tortuga would be the he'd be the paladin. He'd have to be the slowest moving.
I was gonna say bugbear.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. We need something slow. Now, Magnus. Ooh, I think Magnus would be the barbarian.
I've never played that class before.
It's just broken. It just doesn't die.
Did we ever lose any of them? Outside of
So.
scrapping?
Did we lose... okay, so what ships did we lose? It's a good question.
Battle cruisers.
We lost 2 Tortugas. Wait, they were both... No, one was sunk, one was torpedoed. We lost an Imperator Magnus.
Defense.
We lost 2 THG class... the Istoricheski or whatever it is, the battle cruisers. Both of them were sunk
Part of that
in
was
battle.
because I sail like a drunken idiot and drive right into the enemy fleet and torpedoes.
Yeah, and we lost. I guess that's all that we really lost for the main stuff. It's too bad. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think, Ben, you watched the series long enough to see the new light cruisers I designed, which I'm posting them now. They're really. I feel like they're exceptionally good, and we were definitely missing light, like escort type ships. So
I tried so
designed,
hard to build as many as I could.
yeah, I also filled that gap.
24-inch guns, dear God.
Yeah,
So
well,
what you're saying
that's
is we needed more?
that's the most secondary guns you can put on. I don't even know if this works in patch 1.15 now. I think it should, but
Oh, I played 1.15. I was so sad because when I read the patch notes really quickly, and I thought you could it increase the amount of guns you could put on a ship. I didn't realize it decreased the amount of guns you could.
yeah, they're working on some. It's like a stopgap as far as I know. It's just a temporary. They'll eventually get like a system for how many things you can put on the top of the ship, like a deck space. Just like they kind of have that system right now with secondary guns, AA guns, torpedoes. They're supposed to implement the same thing with actually main guns now as well.
Did you convert an Istorici to a carrier?
I did.
How? It's so slow.
What do you mean? What?
It's still only 26 knots. That's pretty slow for a carrier.
Yeah,
You could go
that's
24.
According to the rules, sure. Good luck getting off a deck on a carrier in 1940 with a 24 knot whatever.
yeah. So as far as I know,
The Japanese actually had problems with that because some of their carriers they converted from merchantmen were so slow they could only do certain types of aircraft launches off them. I don't think they could carry Kates with torpedoes.
that's possible. But in this game, you can do anything you want at 24 knots. It's just a on-off switch. And actually, I think that let's go into this speed versus armor discussion because there's a lot to be said about that. But as far as carriers go, because their AI is so stupid, less speed is better because they take off in the wrong direction. Like wherever the wind is, they're going the opposite way, and good luck trying to control them. So you just because you're not sure if that's going to be the right direction or the wrong direction. It's actually sometimes an advantage to have them with low speed. So at least if they're going in the wrong direction, they're going that way slowly.
That reminds me of like a dog. Like if I had a dog and it was really slow, it would probably be easier to just manhandle it. So
exactly.
It doesn't bolt away at me like 1,000 miles an hour.
Wait, we're talking about the
battles I fought
Imperator.
where my carriers were just like, you know what? The wind's heading directly towards the enemy, so that's where I need to be.
And
No,
it's
we're
like,
talking about
okay,
the top
they're
two
recovering.
aircraft, aren't we?
They're
Carriers
recovering
in
like
general.
one recon aircraft. Like, okay, one recon aircraft comes in. All right, boys, turn the whole division around. We're going right back towards the enemy to recover this one recon plane.
No, I mean in terms of speed, you're talking about you want a dog to be really slow, and that's the Tortuga class. It's so slow, but it can't get away and do something stupid, right?
Okay, so now let's talk about speed versus armor. You guys went with a speed focus. I don't think anybody went with a. So I mean, there's guns, there's speed, and there's armor. This is the triangle of design. I think everyone here favors guns. Nobody went with the light gun in order to get both speed and armor. The German type battle cruiser. I don't think anybody went with that kind of design, right?
That is my
I
normal
didn't.
design strategy. I prefer rate of, I'm very, I pride myself on being horrifically unlucky. So whenever I'm playing a game where you're shooting at something, my general rule of thumb is that the more bullets I put out there, the more chance I have to hit something. So I always go for rate of fire. So that usually means I'm popping smaller guns in. But I didn't design any heavy ships outside of the Imperator Magnus, so never really got to get to that.
Okay. So you would have gone with that, but
Yeah.
what do you prefer? So you actually prefer that. So instead of doing that, though, you went with guns plus speed at sacrificing armor, right?
Well, for the Imperator Magnus, I don't remember what the stats were.
Yeah, I guess it was
It was faster
everything.
than the Tortuga.
Well, okay, so it was designed and laid down in like 1902, and I think it was originally designed for 19 knots or something along those lines, which was fast for the time. Put it that way.
Whatever it was still faster than the Dreadnought that came after it.
Yeah, it's 21
Well,
knots. It was built in 1906. Can I cancel this design so we can get the Tortukov back? I don't know when the Tortukov was designed, but it was obviously before 1910 because I passed the turn on 1910. I think I'm just going to say 1908. So it was a couple years later, and I mean the difference is just okay. So anyways, you guys like speed. The thing is, this is my philosophy, and it's playing the game. I'm not talking about like general, real life combat, World War II, whatever. In World of Waves 2, you start already in contact with the enemy. Like they have new battle types now in World of Waves 2, especially with carriers, where you can start a little bit farther removed. But essentially, you don't know what you're going to fight until you identify it, and you only identify it by closing. And I've never had a problem disengaging with ships that weren't spotted. So if my scouting fleet found the enemy fleet and I was like, oh, I don't want to fight this at all. I don't know if that's ever happened, by the way, but I wouldn't have a problem disengaging. So to me, then, that once your battle lines are facing each other, speed is meaningless. Speed doesn't do anything. Speed doesn't protect you against being hit. It doesn't hit the enemy harder.
See, I beg to differ. Speed does protect you from getting hit. Increased speed on a ship is harder to hit in the game, and it allows you to change your tactical position quicker than the enemy in a battle line if you the wind gauge is against you, or you might be able to get in front of the van of their formation and then turn and cross the T. I've had the situation happen plenty of times where my increased speed was the prime factor in a crushing victory.
You're also more likely to avoid torpedoes.
Yeah, and I definitely have had issues where even though you're taking damage and you're slower, if your base speed is higher, you've got a much better chance of disengaging. And I've had situations where my ships were too slow to escape, and that resulted in much greater losses than was necessary.
So this is where the design philosophy, there's a big difference. And I just find that my ships are much more survivable. If I essentially put on usually a fixed amount of armor, and then I crank the guns up as much as possible. For the Tortukov itself, I mean, that was lower than the armor I would have wanted, but it was early enough that I wasn't able to get everything I wanted. But that's generally the ship I will design. I'll design that battleship just with slightly more armor, but I go guns focus first, armor focus second, and speed focus third. Another thing that I think is useful to do and something we didn't do at all, is make ships of the same speed. This is the standard class idea that the standard type that the Americans had. Keep all their ships between 19 and 21.
Like, do you remember how I designed ships to be 27 knots and try and keep it to the same speed as Matt's BCs?
Yeah, those were 20. So Tichy, they were 27. The historic, whatever. The first battle
designed to be 28, but the stupid design came out slower.
Okay, and that's another thing. The amount of tonnage that you use on an engine goes up exponentially, right? I think it's exponential, but it might be just quadratic. Anyways, it's non-linear, right? Going from 24 to 25 is much more expensive than going from 23 to 24. So the higher you set that design target, the more engine space is wasted if you don't get it with the Russian docks. If you have a design which is slower than, you're essentially deleting more tonnage. If you design a 20-knot ship and it only goes 19, you lost, let's say 800 tons of space. But if you design a 28-knot ship and it goes 27, you've just sacrificed like 3,000 tons of speed because of you didn't make up the same speed.
Well, and I think I was designing my class in part being influenced by Kaigun. I was definitely trying to design like super ships that would be better than anything else the AI has, but I knew we wouldn't be able to afford a lot of them. I definitely didn't think we would end up building like 8.
Yeah, but I think that's a good design philosophy in World of Waves 2, because again, it's just all about the battle generator. The battle generator it seems to limit whatever side has bigger numbers. The side with bigger numbers doesn't necessarily get to bring all their ships to bear. So in that sense, it seems to be quality is much better than quantity. Okay, so speed versus armor. I guess it's 3-1. People are in favor of speed over armor. And Ben, I didn't know that faster ships were harder to hit until this series. That's the first time I actually looked at that. And then, so, in the next series I probably will prioritize speed a little bit more than I did.
I will also say my design philosophy.
Too, if you got your ships cranking at full speed, your accuracy will be lower than if you have them going at a slightly slower speed.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in Rule the Waves? I know it's in Dreadnoughts, but...
Yeah.
You're saying if they're going flank speed?
Like, if I have a ship rated at 20 knots, my battle speed will be probably 16 knots. 20 knots is what I would be using to get in front of, increase my my position advantage or flee or something like that. But once I was in battle line, I would slow down to about 80% of what my max speed was. Also, that prevents your fucking stokers from wearing out too quickly.
Fuck the stokers; they can keep going.
I mean, that's another thing. Is like if you go max speed into battle right away, and then things start turning against you, and you're like, okay, I got to get away. It's like, all right, so my ship's rated for 19 knots. These guys have been going full speed for 3.5 hours. We can make 16 knots right now. I'm fucked. So I like to go into a battle line at about 75-80% of my nominal speed, just so that I have that option of having a speed burst later.
Yeah,
I will throw my stokers
firepower,
into the boilers and let them speed the ship.
Yeah, just squirt the juice in, and it'll be fine. The go juice.
That was, by the way, in reading Forgotten Ally about World War II, apparently there was a Chinese general of Chiang Kai-shek he was like in their intelligence division, and he would put people into steam engines, and you couldn't hear the screams because of the steam escaping from the engine, but that was like one of his methods of like interrogation.
So modern day
people in front of them. Yeah.
It's
okay,
horrifying.
So I'm going to pose a question, Ben. So you two vote for speed, Tortuga for obviously. Would you say armor? So I'd have to go for guns then overall. Which is something I think get to really
so there's a trifecta, right? There's guns, speed, armor, and pretty much everyone designs it for guns to be maxed out, and then it's except for Ben typically he said that he favors.
I don't do that.
Yeah, but so does that mean, Ben, that you're willing to do when you're talking about using lower caliber guns though? Are you using more of them so they take up the same space, or you're just using less guns and less size?
Generally, I would be using more guns of a smaller caliber so that I'm slinging more shells out there, because my philosophy is that the more I can hit, the more chances I have of damaging a critical system on the enemy ship, whether it's knocking off bits of the superstructure, hitting not reducing their damage control possibilities, setting fires, knocking out, getting a conning tower hit, knocking out the radar or something like that. The more hits I can get in on there, the better probability I feel like I have of tipping the tides of the battle, just because I will be reducing the effectiveness of the enemy. So I'll go for a lot of smaller hits rather than one big devastation.
Yeah, I think there's some sense in that. I know that Alekius, another person who does Rule the Wave stuff, he does the same thing. He goes for a lot of smaller caliber guns. But that means I think that everyone puts guns as their first focus, and then it just depends on how you spend with the leftover. Because even though Ben goes for smaller guns, he goes for more of them. So it might be slightly lower tonnage overall, but maybe it's the same.
So, if I have access to -1 14-inch gun or in +1 12-inch gun, I'll cram a bunch of 12-inch guns on there rather than going for the bigger ones.
Mm-hmm.
Can I throw a spanner in the works then? So we've talked about speed, firepower, and armor, but what about maintenance costs and actual construction costs?
Well, maintenance costs is 100% based on engine speed. Okay. It's not literally 100%, but to distinguish between two different ships, so in this we can see the Soryetsky is a 15,000-ton, 30-knot ship. Her maintenance is 510. The Imperial Magnus is a 19,000-ton, 21-knot ship, and her maintenance is 490. So even though she's a larger ship,
though, right now, and in that screenshot.
Yeah, I think these are fair comparisons, right? Northern Europe, fair. Northern Europe, good. But they're both in Northern Europe on active
Okay.
fleet. So I think this is apples to apples. I really wish we could get my Tortukov class back, because I think my Tortukov's like 550. So, I mean, the slower speed is just... The biggest impact on maintenance is speed. We can I can advance the turn and just decline every battle to get the Tortukov class back. 5 months.
Well, see, when it's talking about maintenance cost, for me, it's kind of it's a high maintenance cost, but it's a bang for your buck kind of situation. I've won entire wars where I couldn't fight in a traditional surface battle with a few heavy cruisers that were A, protecting my trade lanes, and B, taking out all the enemy raiders, and C, doing raiding of their own just by outperforming all the enemy light cruisers and heavy cruisers, taking them out, getting worse score from that, then strangling the enemy economy out.
I think that's the thing that the game lacks, is the ability to create like an order of battle. The issue is, it's like obviously with THG's battle cruisers, it would have been nice to dictate what battles they got involved with. So I think that's one of the ways that the game could be really improved, is by... And I've been moaning to you for ages about this, haven't I, Tortuga? About an order of battle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the inability to build squadrons and identify which ships are operating with which, and just making the battles completely randomized is a big problem.
I mean, if you want to go back, I posted that on before the game was released. Actually, in the they did the Rule the Waves 2 announcement thread. I think it's like the 6th post down. It was like, here's my concerns about Rule the Waves 2. Will there be an ability to even use anti-aircraft light cruisers? Because if they are not incorporated with carriers, which is obviously what they should be incorporated with, then they're going to be just like, if they're just treated like normal light cruisers, there might be like radar interception and stuff like that. That is not their role.
Mm-hmm. Tried it before; it's useless.
Yeah, so there's supposed to be some fixes with that in 1.15, but yeah.
I think another one as well would be nice is just having formation orders. So obviously, I don't know. Obviously, you could, I don't know, perhaps like be able to design the formation that your fleet takes before battle, and then they'd keep that sort of formation, perhaps. You know, rather than them just moving freely about. Maybe like, you know how you can have like certain squadrons attached to like a lead, and then they can be there to screen. It'd be nice if that was like something of a standard formation, you know, like when you entered every battle, you didn't have to just set it up individually. If you get where I'm going from.
God,
I think
mechanically, one of the things that is really ruining the game for me is when you get within torpedo range of an enemy ship, and then your ships just start slaloming left and right really fast.
God, yeah.
It drives me up the fucking wall, because I don't know how many battles I've lost because I made a torpedo attack, like turned perfectly a few hundred yards away from the enemy ship, and then my destroyers were just like, I think I'll wait till we go directly past the enemy death cannons and then turn away from him instead of doing what you told me.
Oh, and I don't really feel like launching torpedoes right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one. Friendly ships in line of fire needs to get.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea how many times I've complained about
friendly
that.
ships in line of fire. There have been instances where a torpedo could have circumnavigated the globe to hit a friendly ship, and it would say, "Friendly ship in line of fire." And then I had other instances where my destroyers freely shot dozens of torpedoes directly through an enemy formation into me, hitting my own ships.
Yeah, I just encountered a battle. I'm using my my auto resolve to get by it.
Does anybody know why the friendly ships in line of fire even exists?
Yeah, because the AI is really, really bad at hitting their own ships on the enemy side.
So it's
and on
there to prevent the AI from
Yeah.
torpedoing its own ships, but it also prevents the player from launching their own torpedoes. I think I figured out what the issue with it is, though, too. I think it calculates the spread from every potential direction at the same time, rather than just towards the enemy ship.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. So note, we just got destroyed in that battle using the simulator.
Oh, bad. I didn't even see.
Well, it's because it was like 4 battleships against 12. So the simulator said, okay.
Oh, something I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys before. I feel like I may have mentioned it before, but did you guys know that when you're making a ship and you have the option for forward, centerline, swivel, torpedo mount, that only faces forwards?
Wait, only it doesn't face sideways?
It does not face left to right. It only fires down the bow, straight
wow.
down
It's
the
like
axis
a
of the ship.
Stug on a ship?
Yes.
That is impressive.
My community has come to calling them the bayonet launchers because you have to go straight at the enemy ship and you launch them straight in the direction of travel.
So you could say it's almost like a lance, really.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
If only you could have a formation of lancers.
Then the winged hussars arrived.
Mm.
By the way, seeing Su-33s in our game is amusing to me.
I just want to get the damn Tortukov out so we can see
Well, you just lost 3 battleships and a carrier in your life.
I know, we're not even going to have ships left to compare it with. Just 2 months. Come on.
How do you feel about prestige
Oh, god damn it.
as a mechanic?
I just try to get it as high as possible and ignore it for the most part.
Yeah, as soon as it's over like 30, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it only matters to begin with, and then after that, really, it's just kind of meaningless.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a score mechanic. People have talked about trying to link it to something so it's a little more interesting, but...
Link it to your budget, so an increase in prestige gives you a slight increase in the amount of money you have to spend would be great.
Yeah, that would
It'd be interesting to see, if it could affect relations, like tension levels, for example. So maybe with a nation that's weaker than you, if you have high prestige, it might lower the rise in tensions.
Like a modifier.
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
interesting.
essentially. So it's like, obviously, you could imagine 2 nations that are, competitors with both high prestige and relatively equal. It's like tensions might actually increase as a modifier. But
Well,
then,
I don't
know.
think the game monitors prestige of AI countries. I think it's strictly meant to determine what class of ships will be named after you at the end. I mean, that's really all it's used for, right? Like, based on
I don't know if it's...
prestige you have, that influences whether you get a battleship or a cruiser or whatever named at you after you when you retire.
Yeah, I also don't know if it's used for anything. I mean, if it's too low, you can be booted out of office, but...
I do think it'd be interesting if prestige influenced like the random events, like the likelihood of preventing someone from taking a colony over, or the likelihood of you taking a colony over, like when those rebellions or other things occur. Like, based on your stance, your prestige could be a modifier to those chances.
Hooray!
Well, I think what it boils down to is that the guys who make this game desperately need, like, someone with some gaming experience to advise them on some things.
Okay, the Tortukov
Like, just
is 530.
someone who's used a user interface that makes sense.
It is NWS, to be fair.
Yeah, their focus is not on UI.
Oh,
Well, I'm
clearly.
just saying this UI is about the most complex and advanced of any of their games, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll pose another question, man. What do you think to coastal fortifications, like coastal guns?
I use them a lot.
And they've been reworked a little bit in the latest 1.15, so that it's a little more obvious what they're doing.
Do you think, I don't actually know, I can't remember, but can you see the range for those guns? Actually, you know what would be nice? It'd be nice if you could actually place them yourself, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird that they are in different positions month to month in different battles. Like, you have a 12-inch gun at the tip of this peninsula in one battle,
they
and
actually
then
move
and then in the next one, it's just randomly. They randomly stick to some points.
Coastal defense guns.
Okay.
I do wish they would evenly spread the coastal defense guns out. That would be nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a straw poll for the audience. I'm asking, what is the worst class of the series? And the Tortukov, Sovietsky.
You're just trying to balance.
I thought
your
we
ego
settled
here,
this.
man.
No, I just want to know what the audience. Let's
Tortuga,
let's pretend
you're
that the people
streaming on your
care.
channel. What do you think the audience is gonna say?
Well, I mean, if I just would hope that.
Hang on. Give me the link for the straw poll. And you're gonna...
Yeah. Well, as soon as I finish it, right now, like it's only. Let's see. We have.
Cruiser being the worst. Wait, are we doing worst or best right now?
This is the worst. So the Tortukov, the Sovietsky. Was there any other? Let's do the Imperial Magnus. I mean, I don't think it'll win, but
can I share the Sovietsky with Ben? Considering I was the inspiration for that one.
I'm fine. Good luck.
oh,
We'll
I
do this
see.
then. We'll do this
That
together.
But this is for the worst class in the
That means I can
series.
blame it on you.
Yeah, exactly. This is for the worst class.
Yeah, but at
I'm
least
not
I
sure
get
if
it
you're
on
trying to.
Magnus.
Okay, let's go to ship sunk. It was the Istorecheski. Istorecheski. And then. We didn't really talk about the THD class. 1920 battleship, 16-inch guns. I mean, we were obviously hamstrung by technology. I would claim that same excuse even with the Tortukov. I'm pretty sure that the audience will still say the Tortukov is the worst.
I will say that, regarding balance of speed and armor, I might favor speed and guns over armor, but I don't do it to an absurd degree. Like, I do try and make sure that the ship's not a super vulnerable ship to, magazine explosions and things like that. I don't think I had any flash fires or anything. So I will sacrifice some speed to make sure that it's not a floating time bomb.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, if I'm designing a ship and I'm going speed, guns, armor for like a battle cruiser, I'm not going to put 4 inches of armor on it. It'll be a decent balance.
Yeah, I would say I'd probably go like 40% speed, or 40% speed, 40% guns, and then 20% armor or something for a battle cruiser. I don't know, but I'm never an all
Battle cruiser definitely speed and gun.
I mean, do you always build to the maximum size of your dock, or do you try
No, never. Almost never.
I almost always do. I don't care as much about maintenance cost. I'm very much a super ship builder. I will build to the maximum of my abilities, and I will figure out how many I can afford after I've built it.
I like to build as big as possible too, but I still like to keep the speed down because, as I said, the maintenance cost is just so dependent on speed that if you want to build more ships, and there's this whole strategic points, again, just as gaming the game, it's not something that it's kind of a little bit an abstraction from real life, but if you want more strategic points, which can mean not being blockaded, which can mean invading, all those things, then you just want more ships, so you need lower maintenance.
By the way, someone in the chat said, look at all the money we have now that you got all our ships sunk.
Yeah,
See,
that's what happens.
For me, the going into the design philosophy, if you want as many strategic points as you can, so you want as many ships as you can, so that you can have as much tactical flexibility as you can. For me, that's about keeping maintenance costs down. But on my design, my design philosophy is that I have a role in mind for a ship, and I will design the smallest and cheapest ship possible that can effectively fill that role. If I'm designing a light cruiser that is designed to go out and raid enemy coastline, give it long range, give it 2 6-inch guns, give it a couple of 4-inch guns, and a high speed, and if I have it available, I will give it a float plane. Because all those things... A float plane, high speed, and a couple of guns is all it needs to be the most effective convoy raider it could possibly be. Doesn't need anything more than that.
I just want to say that look how much you guys influenced me. Look at my second dreadnought. I put it at 24 knots.
I'm proud.
It's so fast.
It's practically a battle cruiser.
Wait, what was that design? 1920 what?
Oh, God.
This is 1927.
So the Queen Elizabeth was faster than it 12 years before it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's lots of battle cruisers that were faster than all these ships.
No, the Queen Elizabeth is a battleship.
How fast was... I don't know. Queen Elizabeth was 25 knots?
Yeah, she was sort of the first super dreadnought.
Like, the American standard battleship, I think the American standard battleship was 22 knots, but they were laying those down
19
in,
to
like,
21.
1900s.
The standard type was designed to have the fleet within 19 to 21 knots.
I do
That's
think
even
the British
slower
have the
though.
best looking towers though. The British octagonal design just looks fantastic.
See, I like the Japanese designs. The
With the
pagodas.
pagodas. Oh, god damn
They're
it.
great.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm gonna think about that one. So I like both of them.
Press F for the Haruna.
Okay, here it is. The straw pulls up. Let me just link it in the chat. Well, I'll link it to you first. It's in the Discord. And now, and we'll see the results in a moment. So you actually perfectly segued into the second topic that I wrote down: the ship design, ship rules. I think first of all, I think ship rule design is crucial. It's very important. I design all my ships that way as well. I really min-max everything to be like, okay, so obviously your corvettes, these are, in my opinion, your minesweepers. So you just make a really cheap minesweeper, and then you spam a ton of them, you put them wherever you want minesweeping. Then you build another class of corvettes, and these are your ASW, which frees all your destroyers for active fleet duty. So I follow the same mentality, but I still don't... I feel like the game penalizes heavy cruisers unfairly because it puts them into battles with battle cruisers. So even if you design them for this role, you say these are supposed to be like anti-light cruisers, and they're supposed to take out raiders, and if they encounter a battle cruiser, they'll run away. That's like in theory, but when you get into a battle, you don't know, you can't identify the enemy ship, and they could just get a lucky hit on you before you can escape their cone of fire, and then you're dead. They've knocked you down to a slower speed, they catch up, they destroy you. So to me, it's
You
just...
say that about any ship, though. I've had that happen with battle cruisers constant.
Well, you can't say that about a ship that wasn't intended to run away to begin with.
Tortuga, you would build a floating barge.
I think that we should have designed circular battleships, and it would have been perfect, because Russia.
What was the name of the battleship in World War One? The one that the British put in. They drive. Well, no, they beached it, the Falklands.
Sorry, I just heard Ben's
no.
wife yelling in the background.
Yeah, what was that one called? The one that they beached at the Falklands and used it as a gun battery against
the
Admiral.
Canopus?
Yeah, the Canopus. That was it. Yeah. Yeah. The Tortukov is basically just that. You just beach it somewhere.
Well, that wasn't intended. I think they did that because it was like falling apart because it was an ancient pre-dreadnought battleship that was ready to be scrapped.
Are we still talking about the Tortukov, or are we talking about the Canopus?
I don't know which one.
I mean, I'm looking at the votes here, and the Tortukov is it's leading by a good way here.
And if that one person who voted for my battlecruiser could just remove it, I'd be the only one without a vote.
I've got this up on my second monitor, and I was watching it go.
I
go
wasn't
up,
even
go
looking
up,
at the
go up.
results yet.
And then I saw the little green piece of the pie pop on. I was like, "Aw."
Unanimous, not best.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a tough call. I'm going to vote for the Sovietsky since I already did. I finally voted for mine. Yeah, so it looks like the Tortukov is considered the worst class in the series. I can't explain why I disagree with that. I feel like it's not being fair in terms of... Here, let me put the results over here.
Is it because you voted for it, or because you built it?
No, I don't know if we're... So, I don't think the Tortukov is a great design either, but it's... For the time it was being built with the technology I had, I don't know what you would have done a whole lot better with it. It was the first dreadnought, the first real dreadnought in the world. So,
Yeah, so
I mean, you can say that the Imperial Magnus had the BB title first, but it was really the first true dreadnought in the world. And it had a 10-gun broadside, which is amazing.
yeah, I think my issue with it, and I agree with you completely, right? It also happens to be the first true dreadnought on the list, so it's easy to be like, well, you were dealing with all these limitations, and therefore it's not a fair voting of the ship. What I will say is this, though. From my point of view, is I think you tried to do too much at a period of time where you weren't able to do that much, and I think you tried to basically future-proof it too much, and at the end of the day, you sacrificed too much speed to make it effective.
From a design
I think
strategy,
if you had worked within the limitations of your design more, then I think you could have built a better ship.
I mean, this is 10 14-inch guns.
19 knots would have made it a much more effective ship.
Now, I remember that, so in order to get this thing to be anything different, if I needed to do anything, I would have had to drop 2 guns. So I could have basically made this just a 3-gun broadside, so a 6 14-inch gun ship. That would have given us what you guys are talking about. But we didn't have super firing.
A smaller caliber ship.
But I don't think we had super firing. I'm pretty sure that this is not super firing.
No super firing at that point.
No, but I think you went with 14-inch guns, right?
Yeah, you
could have gone with like a 13 or a 12 and then just had, more.
Yeah, but the 13s were quality -1.
What were the 12s?
Probably quality 0.
I mean, honestly,
I don't know, maybe -1s.
I personally, if I was designing that ship, I would have gone with 12-inch guns and a 19-knot speed to match the previous class.
Well, no, the Magnus were 21 knots, weren't they?
The Magnus were 21.
Fuck, those were fast.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think the issue, I would not have complained as much if the thing slowing my fleet down was a pre-dreadnought as opposed to a dreadnought that was expensive.
What were the other?
Almost this.
What were the battleships that we had? I designed it to be the same speed as the battleships.
Oh, I don't remember what the other battleships were. The
legacy ships?
Yeah, the legacy ships that Ben was given.
There might have been.
I think that I don't have them here. We can open up the design. If I can remember what it was called.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to have to shoot off, guys. I'm going to go do some cooking. So, thank you for watching, guys. This has been me, so there you go. You can talk about me behind my back now. I'm going to go and do some cooking. I said I was going to do some cooking for the family.
guy.
Yeah, I forgot.
Goodbye, me.
What was this? What's the Neznik?
Okay, see you later, guys.
Yeah.
Take care, Shiji. Thanks for joining. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. Barshava? Oh, God. I think they delete old designs now. I think they have a new... the developer put a new thing in where they delete old designs if they're older than, 20 years. Oh, so we can't even look at them. That's really sucks. I wish that was an option, not something forced, but...
Turn that off, yeah.
Yeah, I don't... Okay, I can actually solve this, though. I can go back to an earlier save game, which I have, and put it in. Let's grab this. Oh, yeah. So let's just grab the... So the 1904, we're looking for 60s. Bayan, Bernie, Evstafi. Evstafi, right? It's got to be the Evstafi.
Sounds about right.
So just throw this in here. Let's open the Evstafi. There it is. Okay, so this was a 19 knot. Yeah, exactly. So I designed it to go at the speed of the other ships, THG.
At some point, you have to break with that philosophy, though, because if you're in my mind, if you were gonna build that to be 21 knots, I would have been much better with that, because then the new ships that we would keep around for a while would all be 21 knots. The legacy, if you never build something faster than 19 knots, I mean, you could use that argument to literally never build a ship faster.
So what if you built 19 knot ships, and then if you built battle cruisers, and then you made fast battleships, so you only had 2. So in my opinion, the 19 to 21 knots thing, that's I was looking forward for us doing standard type stuff. So
that's why I designed them for 21 knots. I put extra effort into making them faster so that the next designs could match their speed easily.
Yeah, and I will say that very often, I know 2 knots doesn't seem like a lot, but it felt like a lot in those battles.
Yeah, I mean 19 knots is slow.
Having your pre-dreadnoughts with 4 main guns on them, racing out ahead of your actual heavy hitters that are lagging behind was incredibly frustrating.
Wait, say that again?
Your ships were the heavy hitters, and having the Magnuses being able to race out ahead of them was very frustrating to try.
The Magnus has got so much play.
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing, right? The Magnus was if we want to think about going back to the RPG analogies, if we just designate ships as something, The Tortukov was like a rogue class or mage class, very high DPS glass cannon. And the Imperial Magnus was like a tank, very little firepower, very little offensive capability, but it would be good at positioning itself in front of the Tortukov. And then I did this in my battles. I put them, I mean, as much as the order of battle, the lack of an order of battle editor allowed me to, I tried to put the Benjamin Magnus class, the Imperial Magnus class, closest to the enemy ships so that they would absorb the hits. And then
have, what, like 14 inches of armor or something?
Yeah, it was very high. I think we can find.
I guess by the time I was playing, I was building battle cruisers, so my theory was the battle cruisers would race out ahead, and then my main battle line would come in behind.
So your Avino says that your Magnus class was 22 knots when designed. So it had the typical short range. I mean, the typical Russian flaw.
I'd just have to rely on other people's memories for that because I don't remember off the top of my head. That sounds about right, though. 22 knots is something I would normally design a ship for, early ships for, to be my standard battle class, like speed.
All right, well, I think I want to start another straw poll now. Tortukov is getting elected as the loser. I wanted to defend it, but I'm okay with... I don't think it was a very good design either. It was limited to what it had available. And one thing we haven't even looked at, one thing which is not made available by the game in the description category or anything, is the torpedo defense, which we were horribly behind. That was the one reason why I really, really hated the Istorochesky class, because it was a battle cruiser of 28,000 tons with torpedo defense 1. So it just meant that one torpedo would just ruin its day. Okay, but anyways, let's get to what was the best ship class. And I'm not going to put the light cruisers on this. I honestly think that the best ship I designed for the series was a light cruiser. But we'll do the same thing. Istorochesky, which I think got a few votes. Imperator Magnus, which probably got a few votes. No reason to put the... We'll put the Sovietsky on there as well, just in case people thought that was the best. And
you can put your Tortukov on there and see if it wins both.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. Should we allow multiple poll answers? I only allowed one vote for the worst, but should we allow people to vote on multiple?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so that way they can pick as many as they thought were the best ship class. And we can put the Tortukov. So Istorochesky was the battlecruiser. Magnus, B/BB. Sovietsky, CA. Tortukov. I highly doubt it'll win. And what else? The THG, BB, and...
Did you put the Red October?
Oh yeah, the Red October. I mean, honestly, so again, XTRG is the only person who saw my second wave of designs. I designed a... oh, what does matter? So Red October was a CVL. Let's see. So I have Istorochesky, the Imperator Magnus, Sovietsky, Tortukov, THG, and Red October. Anything else? The Cherepaka. No, I won't put it on there. Yeah, I will. No, I won't. Because it doesn't matter. We're not talking about it. Okay, so this poll's now up. Post for you guys. And then we can probably just wrap it up after that, right? We've had a good discussion. I'm voting for the Tortukov.
Just to be a contrarian.
Just so it has one vote.
Wait, how many times can we vote? Can I vote for every one?
All of them. You can vote for everything.
Wait, you can vote multiple times?
Red October.
I don't think that was a mistake. So
watching this go all over the place live is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is pretty. Let me put it over here.
I do think it's funny that ships that got voted some of the worst also got voted. So also
Look
got
at the
most
Tortuga!
Such horseshit.
Yes! Yes!
Don't forget, it also won the other poll by like a wide margin.
Yeah, but that's not fair because we didn't allow multiple answers.
Wait, are you from Chicago? Voting's not fair if you can't vote like 5 times.
Well, that's a very interesting vote. We have 9 people. 36 votes so far though. So people definitely are not exclusively picking like all the answers.
I feel like we're getting trolled.
It does feel a little bit like...
No, never mind. I think the votes doesn't. It's just the addition of all of them. It's probably only like 9 people have voted.
Yeah, because we had like 30 votes last time, right?
It's 36 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's about even. Hey, well, there you go. So
Yeah, but this time
we'll
we get to
ignore
vote
the
multiple
Tortukov.
times.
I'm assuming that most people who voted for the Tortukov also voted for. Oh my God! I think that. Have you posted this in your chat, Ben? Because this is
I did.
the Tortuga group overriding.
I posted. I didn't like ping everybody. I just posted it for the people who are like talking right now.
I don't know what I said my favorite was, but the Red October. But I will say the Imperator Magnus was a great class. I really enjoyed it, and I think that it had great strategic battleship potential. I would not have scrapped it, ever. I would have left it in Northeast Asia and just let it be the strategic points, the battleship over there, and prayed it never got into combat. So.
It's a...
Okay, well, any other things that we want to discuss? Actually, I want to ask Ben, how did you like the Succession series? Have you done something like this before?
I've done Succession series a lot with games like EU4, CK2 in particular. Never something like this, but I always enjoy a Succession game because I in particular feel like I have a much different play style of pretty much any game I play than almost everybody else. So there's usually this fun little bit of my streams where it's like tearing my hair out, going, "Oh God, what did this person do to me?"
Yeah, that's half the fun.
Yeah, my audience loves that.
Well, I vote that we do something similar whenever Ultimate Admiral's campaign comes up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Dreadnoughts. Yeah,
Definitely.
Looking forward to that. Well, in other news, people who are interested in watching Rule of Waves currently, Ben, you have 2 series going on right now?
China game.
Okay, did you already conclude your Japanese one?
I did conclude the Japanese one when it got to the point where like there's 400, 500, 600 land-based aircraft just dominating the entire play.
Yeah,
play.
they
I was
really
like, okay,
need.
This is boring now. I'm done.
They really need an option to like limit. Do they have a starting option which limits aircraft in particular, or just low tech speed?
No. I would.
Sorry, guys. My stream just.
Aircraft carriers. I hate land-based aircraft. I have no idea why I'm spending my naval budget on the Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
And the Imperial Japanese Navy had a bunch of land-based aircraft.
Yeah, and it was a disaster.
Just because they didn't have armor and blew up real easy, they sank the Prince of Wales.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the war.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting.
Is now winning. I think we're getting trolled.
So yeah, probably. So what I should have done is make people only vote. We shouldn't have done multiple votes. That way, people had to either choose to troll or vote seriously. Hopefully, they would have voted
A real
seriously.
vote and a troll vote.
Yeah, because you can do both right now, right? You can pick anything and then also the Tortukov.
I voted for the Red October, the Magnus, and out of solidarity, the Sovietsky.
I like if I had to declare a winner of these 3, I think the Imperator Magnus was our vote, our collective vote for the best.
Yeah, it was.
And I would say that the Red October was still a very good design. Ben, you probably don't know much about it because you didn't use it, but it's a max.
Oh, I looked at it. It's a good design, yeah.
Yes, for an opening for a first light carrier to already have reached the max aircraft capacity. That's the most important thing. So.
Oh yeah, if you got an early light carrier that's only got 10, 20 aircraft on it, it's gonna have very limited use.
I designed it very much with World War II CVLs in mind. I was like, I can't have a carrier with like 10 planes. What's the point of it?
Yeah, I'm glad. It's a really good design, and considering you weren't like very experienced with Rule the Waves 2, you did a great job. So yeah, for people who are interested in watching more Rule the Waves content, Ben is releasing a ton of it, and then I'm actually supposed to be starting a new Rule the Waves 2 series, which will be as Japan. That'll probably start in a week. So for those of you who are interested in following that, look for announcement video so that you can get your ship name in. Do you include people's ship names, Ben? It's a pain.
Oh yeah, because I stream it live. So what I do is I have a constant queue running, and whenever I need to name a ship, I just pick randomly off the queue, and that person gets a ship named after them.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I know TSG has a time constraint here, so we got to be finishing pretty quick. Any other final comments?
It was
I
fun.
think we covered everything.
Yeah, great. Why did it end already?
Fun,
Because
gents.
because we just had to go. It was. I think it ended early because partly my turn took a very long time. It wasn't that I was delaying; it was just like 10 videos long. But and then we lost a little bit of momentum. Like schedules got in the way. I don't know how long we planned to do it for. How many in real life months?
I figured we'd get 2 to 3 turns out each.
And we can always do it again. We can
Oh yeah, definitely.
see if especially if there's some improvements to the air combat, it'll be a little bit more exciting to go further into the game.
My way of dealing with that is just crank the tech rate way down, so I don't have to deal with it for a while.
I will be adopting that as well. I'm going to crank the tech rate down a bit for my upcoming
The tech,
series.
the tech rate in
Do
this
we
game
that?
felt like it was the right balance.
Yeah, that's
because-
funny. At 70%, it felt right.
Yeah, you got battleships around the same time. You didn't get aircraft way early. Like they were around toward the end of World War I time frame, but they weren't really they were mostly lighter than air. I think things worked really well from a air to sort of time frame bonus. in terms of tech.
Definitely.
Well, thanks to
If you
everyone.
crank it way down, you get really wonky designs for battleships and like really like 30,000 ton free dreadnoughts, which is just fun for me.
Oh, yeah, because the dock rate doesn't go down. That's funny. Well, I guess we'll just wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks for joining. Matt,
Yep.
Eric, Tortuga, also say thank you to everyone who joined us. And we'll catch you guys back for the next Succession series, maybe next year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.